Okay, y'all, today I'm going to teach you the writing process. Most of y'all probably already know this from high school, but I'm going to run through it again and I'm going to try to get a little more visual with it. I'll be doing more details going into each process in future videos, but for right now, let's just keep it simple. First step, brainstorming. Some people call it quick write, inspiration, invention, doesn't matter. The point is to get all of your ideas on a paper, even the crazy ones, and just so you can have something to work with and to edit. So this is going to sound strange, but I visualize everything. It just helps me. It just does, especially with organization. So brainstorming is what I call pouring the concrete of your house. You are digging into the ground, that's the hard work, and then you pour the concrete, and that is going to be your base for the entire house. You set the floor plan of your house with that concrete you poured. So that's your brainstorm. At this point, you should know, I want a kitchen, I want a living room, I want 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, etc., because you are pouring the concrete. In other words, you should know what your prompt is, you should know your audience, and you should know what type of paper you're writing. And those 3 things will direct you in what to write down in your brainstorm. After that comes framing the house, aka the outline process. So your outline is going to depend on what kind of paper you are writing, but generally your outline is going to have an intro paragraph, 2 to 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. You must have a thesis, topic sentences, and everything else. Again, more videos on details later. But that is going to be framing your house. At that point, you're building up. You are making something to put all the details, put all of the great ideas that you have, but there has to be a frame, there has to be a skeleton, there has to be something which holds up your house. Next step, rough draft. This is where you put the insulation in, you put the sheetrock in, and at this point, you're putting in everything in your paper that's going to keep out the cold weather and keep in the heat, or vice versa, depending on where you live. So this is the part of your paper where you are taking all those crazy thoughts and taking that outline and smushing it together to create a house or a paper, to create a house paper. So this is usually one of the hardest steps. It's where the most work comes in. And it's also where a lot of mistakes are being made and you're being tempted to fix all those mistakes and grab them and work it out. Don't. Just leave it. Just make it work. The house is going to get messy at this point. There's going to be dust everywhere. There's going to be nails on the floor. The floors aren't even covered yet. This is just the rough draft. Next step, final draft. You are making this house livable. You are showing people that, yes, I have what it takes to become a writer. So at this point, you are painting the walls. You are putting the floors in. You are putting cabinetry in. You are putting faucets in and the fixtures, the light fixtures, and everything else. You're putting sound system in, whatever you need. But at this point in your paper, what you are doing is you are creating something that whoever you're building this house for, they can come in and look at it and say, wow, this is my dream home. Except there's a paint blotch on the floor, and that light fixture is not where I said I wanted it, and this cabinet is about 6 inches too short. Do I look that short to you? Are you calling me a dwarf? And this is where people start getting nitpicky. So, last thing is polishing. Polishing is what happens when you think you're done. Polishing is what happens when you've actually slept in between your final draft and polishing. Polishing is what happens when you finally have a clear head again. So, this is where you go through. Look at your grammar, look at your spelling, look at the way you worded things. Did you repeat yourself? I cannot emphasize this question enough. Did you repeat yourself? See what I did there? Anyway, the point is, this is a funny little trick that helps me with the writing process. It helps me understand what I'm doing instead of just doing it. So, I hope you enjoyed my analogy or metaphor. I'm supposed to be an exchanger. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day.